Welcome, welcome to ShadowMeTarot. Today I am going to be going over the regular tarot deck, and I'll be reading the traditional Kaplan version of the Rider Waite definition deck for each of the suits, basically a little bit of history. And then I'm going to be utilizing this deck, which is more of like, I'll be referring to it as the millennial deck, and I highly recommend getting this deck. This is a fabulous beginner deck. It just really is. The book is simple. It's easy to get one-word attributions to each of the different cards, and it'll get you started on oracle cards. So this is a fabulous, fabulous deck. I highly, highly recommend it. I'm going to throw up a picture of where you can find it on Amazon because I'm too lazy to put the link in the description. So here it is. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share. I'm going to read the definitions of both books, both the original Rider Waite deck definitions and then this new kind of millennial definition book. And I'm going to go through every card of the entire suit. So it's going to be hours and hours long. I hope you love it. Have a wonderful day.
In the year 1369, playing cards are not mentioned in a decree issued by Charles VI of France against various forms of gambling. However, 28 years later, the Prévôt of Paris, in an ordinance dated January 22nd, 1397, forbids working people from playing tennis, ball, cards, or ninepins, excepting only on holidays. It is generally accepted that playing cards emerged in Europe in the latter half of the 14th century, probably first in Italy as a complete 78-card deck, or some inventive genius subsequently combined the common 56 cards known as the minor arcana with the 22 esoteric and emblematic tarot cards known as the major arcana to form the 78-card pack. During the 15th century, tarot cards were generally drawn or hand-painted for the princely houses of northern Italy and France. Subsequently, the card packs became more numerous because they were reproduced by techniques using wood cuts, stencils, and copper engravings. By the 16th century, a modified tarot pack called the Tarot of Martialis gained popularity. There exists today in the archives of the Bibliothèque Nationale in Paris 17 major arcana cards generally believed, probably erroneously, to have been hand-painted about the year 1392 by Jacquemin Gringonier for Charles VI of France. These cards are likely of later Venetian origin, possibly mid-15th century Tarocchi of Venice cards. The Pierpoint Morgan Library in New York City possesses 35 cards from a 78-card tarot deck dating from circa 1484 and believed to be the work of either Bonifacio Bembo or Antonio Cisconara. This deck apparently belongs to the Cardinal Ascanio Maria Sforza, 1445 to 1505, or to his mother Bianca Visconti Sforza, and was probably not intended for actual play, but instead may have been merely a pictorial representation of the times. Other early European cards related to the tarot pack include the Tarocchi of Mantegna deck comprising of 50 instructive cards in 5 series of 10 cards each. Tarocchi of Venice or Lombardy deck comprising of 78 cards including 22 major arcana and 56 lesser arcana cards. Tarocchi of Bologna, I'm like, that's baloney. Tarocchino of Bologna deck comprising of 62 cards believed to have been invented by Francois Fibia, Prince of Pisa, and containing 22 major arcana and only 40 numerical suit cards. I don't speak French or Italian. I speak Spanish a little bit. So I apologize for messing up all of these names. Minchiate of Florence deck, similar to the regular 78 card tarot deck, but enlarged to 97 cards by the addition of the signs of the zodiac, the 4 elements, and the 3 cardinal virtues. Tarot fortune telling readings generally take into account not only the individual divinatory meaning of a card, but also the proximity between 2 or more cards, and whether the card is upside down, which weakens, delays, and even reverses the meaning. The brief descriptive title on each of the 22 major arcana cards serves as a catalyst toward a broader and deeper meaning, which the diviner seeks to express. Tarot decks contain 78 cards divided into 2 major groups, 22 major arcana cards, 56 lesser arcana cards. The 22 major arcana or emblematic cards comprise of 21 cards numbered from 21 in Roman numerals to 1. 21 to 1, plus an unnumbered card known as the Fool, Le Mat, and Le Fou in French. The 22 major arcana are also referred to as trumps, atouts in French, atuti, okay, or trionfi in Italian, signifying above all. The 56 lesser arcana cards 56 lesser arcana cards contain 4 suits, including the usual court cards, King, Queen, Jack, Valet, Page, plus a 4th card, the Cavalier, Knave, or Knight, which is placed between the Queen and the Jack. The suits are generally swords, spades, batons, or wands or clubs. Cups are hearts, and coins or pentacles, diamonds. Suit origins are believed to represent the 4 states of life during medieval times. Nobility, or persons who held their rank by military service, were symbolized by swords. Peasants or working class people by clubs, clergymen and statesmen by cups, and tradesmen and the industrial class by coins. Today's ordinary decks of playing cards seemingly descend from the medieval tarot decks. As card playing increased in popularity, the major arcana cards were dropped except for the Fool, which was retained as the Joker, and the Cavalier and Page were combined into today's Jack, thus giving us the standard deck of 52 cards plus Joker. During the past 2 centuries, various important works have appeared in different aspects of tarot cards, authored by Kaplan, 1781, Atelier, 1783, Levi, 1854, Valent, 1857, Mathers, 1888, Pappas, 1889, Falconier, 1896, Worth, Waite, 1910, Theron's Case, Crowley, 1944. That's the Thoth deck, Crowley. 1960. Gray is 1960, Knight 1965, Moakley 1966, Doan 1967, and Kaplan 1970. Kaplan is the guy writing this little introduction here. Under the initiative and supervision of Waite, a unique 78-card tarot pack known as the Rider deck was drawn by Miss Pamela Coleman Smith, an American girl who is fellow member of the Order of the Golden Dawn. Miss Smith was brought up in Jamaica and during her early teens traveled with the stage acting partnership of Terry and Henry Irving. By the age of 21, Miss Smith was established in England as a theatrical designer and illustrator. Her interest in the theater led to her collaboration with William Butler Yeats on stage designs. Subsequently, she worked with his brother Jack Yeats on the illustration and publication of a small magazine entitled The Broadsheet, before bringing out her own, The Green Sheaf, which was filled with ballads, pictures, folk tales, and verses. The outstanding features of the Rider deck is that all the cards, including the 40 pip cards, are numerical cards ace to 10 in each of the 4 suits are presented in emblematic designs, which are readily suitable for divination. This is in contrast to the rigid forms of swords, batons, cups, and coins previously used in tarot decks. Waite also believed that the Fool, being unnumbered and representing 0, should not be placed between 20 and 21, and that in his more natural sequence fell in front of the magician in attribution to the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, Aleph. Waite transposed the numbers of 2 major arcana cards, Strength, force, fortitude, more frequently shown in other decks, in particular Mueller's 1JJ deck and the Garamond's Tarot deck of Marcellus version as 11, is instead shown in the Rider deck as 8. Justice, more generally shown as 8, is designated by Waite as bearing number 11. Basically, that means that Rider Waite changed the order of this card, the Strength card, with the Justice card. So originally the Strength card was supposed to be number 11, and originally the Justice card was number 8. So it's kind of important to know that, simply because in other decks you'll find that these are reversed back, so that the Justice is number 8 and the Strength is number 11. There is currently a phenomenal interest in tarot fortune-telling cards. The serious investigator seeks to employ the cards as a means of placing the past into more meaningful perspective, understanding the present, and revealing the alternatives that exist in the future. Those less acquainted with tarot cards are content to use them as a game and to indulge in readings at parties or small private groups. From the collector standpoint, tarot cards are both colorful and interesting. Tarot decks are currently sought by teenagers, students, homemakers, businessmen, professional people, collectors, indeed persons from all walks of life. Newspapers, magazine, radio, and television frequently comment on the tarot vogue. Teenagers enjoy tarot parties, adults attend tarot luncheons, charitable benefits, and tarot picnics at which card readings are performed. Hollywood has even indulged in the growing trend, with the popular tarot readers being present at parties to service the well-known guests. One of the fascinating aspects about tarot cards is their personal effect upon the individual who uses them. Waite successfully presents a new dimension to their meaning, the key to the tarot. Any tarot reader, be they a serious scholar or a person dabbling in the occult, will benefit from Waite's insight and keen perception. And this is just saying U.S. Game Systems, Inc. is pleased to publish the Universal Waite Pocket Tarot decks based upon the authentic reproduction of the original Rider pack. And we are going, and this is by Stuart Kaplan, Stamford, Connecticut. And it was revised in February of 2004. And I definitely need a revision because this is bleh. And it looks like they have a real graphics designer who put together the book this time. The old one is bleh. Anyways, okay, so this is the original. These are the original images, and I'm going to read both. You'll see why I like this one better, and I may go through at the end and do and kind of go over the different spreads at the end in this particular book. I believe that there is a spread at the back of this book. I'm pretty sure there is. And there's some guidance and tips in that as well. So we'll read all of this, but this part we're going to do at the end. So for now, we're going to do the fun part, and we're going to read the meanings of each of these cards. So for this deck, the meanings, they put the Fool at the back, and I'm just going to read that first. So the Fool means folly, mania, extravagance, intoxication, delirium, frenzy, bewrayment. In the reversed, which means upside down, it means negligence, absence, distribution, carelessness, apathy, nullity, and vanity. I'm just going to read this right here. It will be seen that except where there is an irresistible suggestion conveyed by the surface meaning, that which is extracted from the trumps major by divinatory art is at once artificial and arbitrary, as it seems to me in the highest degree, but of one order are the mysteries of light, and the other, and of another are those of fantasy. That means nothing to me. So just stick with the Fool's folly, mania, extravagance, intoxication, delirium, frenzy, bewrayment, and in the reverse, negligence, absence, distribution, carelessness, apathy, nullity, and vanity. And you can actually look any of those words up in a thesaurus, and any word that you can interchange that means something to you, that's the meaning of the card for you. This book, I like better. The Fool represents new beginnings and carefree adventure. Through this card, Though this card could indicate foolishness in the reverse, it is more optimistic in the sense that it stands for pure actions and being free from the constraints of your present life. More than likely, there are important decisions coming your way, and the answer to your question is yes. So if you're doing a yes/no reading, this book here will tell you which cards mean yes or no. That's hugely helpful. I have a yes or no tarot deck, or I have a yes or no major arcana deck, but to actually know what the yes or no answers are based on the cards that's a big deal. So like, again, I really like this book. I feel like this is a good meaning or definition to kind of start. New beginnings for me is probably the most important meaning for this card, because if you're looking at the major arcana as like the life path from birth to death, which is the Fool, you're basically a baby. So anything that you're learning, you're a baby, right? If you're learning tarot cards right now for the very first time, you a baby tarot card reader. And once you learn the definitions, then you'll be a magician. You'll be able to kind of like play with it a little bit. And then you'll be able to tap into your intuition. And then you'll be able to make something. Go do readings for other people. And then you'll have a solid foundation. Okay, so this is the story of the life path. And then along our life path, we have different paths that we follow. So we have the emotional path, or the path of love. We have the path of passion and business and industry, right? And then we have the path of thinking and our mind and like how our minds change and our thinking process. And then we have like the physical, how we acquire things in the physical world. Okay, I will stop now. So we're going to go to the next card, which is the Magician. In the original book, it says the Magician is skill, diplomacy, address, sickness, pain, loss, disaster, self-confidence, will, the querent himself, if male. Reversed, it means physician, magus, mental illness, disgrace, and disquiet. If that resonates for you, use it. I usually typically, I might take the very first word, skill, and apply it to the Magician, and leave the rest while I'm learning. I usually try to just take one word meanings from each of these books to attribute to the card, and then move forward. Once I know that deck, and then I can go pick up another meaning of that card, right? Or I can use another deck and use that meaning for this card, and then I can use it interchangeably through all of the Rider Waite decks that I have, because there's so many different ones that use so many different types of artwork. Okay, so we went over that meaning for the Magician, and in this one it says the Magician is symbolic of action and power in your life. Its positive connotations illustrate someone who is a smooth talker and good at all aspects of communication. This card suggests using your strong willpower to move forward and take action. The answer to your question is yes. So we've got another yes card here. So since I mentioned other decks, this is a more modern deck right here. Let's see if I can get it closer here. This is the Magician in a more modern deck. Look, she's got a tattoo. She's like lighting candles. She's got kind of like the same things as this Magician here. We've got the Pentacle represented. We've got Cups represented. We've got the Wands represented. We've got Swords represented. But this is this artist's depiction of this card, and this is actually the Broke Bee Tarot. This is a training deck. I got it off of Etsy. I love this deck. If I have no idea what's going on in my cards, or I'm just like kind of lost and I need some guidance, this is a great clarifying deck for me. I can literally turn these into sentences. But just to kind of give you an example, in this deck, the artist has used resourcefulness, manifestation, making things happen. And I kind of use this as manifestation as well. And skill. I use skill and manifestation for the Magician as my own personal meaning. But this also says make things happen. And in the reverse, so if we're doing it like this, it says lack of clarity, manipulation, and illusions. This is an excellent, this is such a relatable deck. I mean, it's so much more relatable in some ways than something like this, but the picture to me is not as descriptive as it could be. It's just supposed to be relatable. And most of these, I think, are supposed to give you kind of like a feeling, and then you kind of tap into the feeling before you tap into the meaning, in my opinion. That's how I do it. All right, so moving on. We now know this is a yes card. So moving on to the High Priestess. In the original book, it says, secrets, mystery, the future as yet unrevealed, the woman who interests the querent if male, the querent if female, silence, tenacity, wisdom, science. In the reverse, passion, moral or physical ardor, conceit, and surface knowledge. I always look at this particular card for myself as intuition. Secrets and mystery kind of pull into intuition, and you can certainly look up any of those words in a thesaurus and replace them with a word that resonates for you. And that's going to be based on your own life experience. We are all unique. We all look at, peer out of a different window of life. And that's what makes us each special, is we all have a say and we all have a perspective, and every one of us is important because we get a full picture. Okay, so the High Priestess in this book, it says, is a spiritually intuitive woman full of mystery, wisdom, and understanding. A journey of self-discovery goes hand in hand with the presence of this card in your spread. She stands for things yet to be discovered in your life, and thus the answer to your question is unclear. And we'll move on to the Empress, which means fruitfulness, initiative, action, long days, clandestine, the unknown, difficulty, doubt, and ignorance. In the reverse, it's light, truth, the unraveling of involved matters, public rejoice, also according to another reading, vacillation. In this book, it says the Empress stands for all things motherly. A nurturing, loving problem solver, she indicates successful business ventures or other positive, productive opportunities to come. She suggests moving forward to fulfill your potential, and the answer you seek is yes. I do like this book way better than the original meaning book. I really do. All right, moving on to the Emperor. The Emperor means stability, power, aid, protection, a great person, conviction, reason. Reverse, it's benevolence, compassion, credit. Also confusion to enemies, obstruction, and immaturity. So I have always viewed the Emperor as the king of all kings. He basically embodies all of, same thing with the Empress too. She's the queen of queens. They each embody all of the suits, attributes, and archetypes of those people, both positive and negative. So she is the queen of wands, the queen of swords, the queen of pentacles, and the queen of cups, all wrapped into one single person. And then the same thing with the Emperor. He is the king of wands, he is the king of swords, he is the king of cups, he is the king of pentacles, all wrapped up into one. He is the king of kings. In this one, it says, as the counterpart to the Empress stands for all things fatherly. He is structure, order, and authority in your life. While moving forward in your endeavors, this card indicates that assertiveness and rationality will take you a long way. With that, your answer is yes. All right, moving on to the Hierophant. The Hierophant means marriage, alliance, captivity, servitude, mercy, and goodness. Inspiration, the man to whom the querent has recourse. Reversed, society, good understanding, concord, overkindness, and weakness. In this book here, it says the Hierophant is a symbol of education and tradition. This card suggests seeking spiritual guidance or advice in your life, also indicative of conformity and religious approval. This card has neither a positive or negative connotation, the only answer is maybe. I also look at, and it kind of describes this in both of these little books too, but I kind of look at the Hierophant as faith and institutions, corporations, government, religion, or churches. That's kind of an education. So take that for what you will. But to me, when I'm reading it in the life path of, womaning up and manning up, and then you get to faith, you start with the Fool, where it's just a new beginning, and then you get to find some new tools and play around with them, and then you use your intuition, and then you make something, and then you build a solid foundation, and then you have faith that it's going to work, right? And then you fall in love with what you're going to do. So let's see what the Lovers have to say. The Lovers means attraction, love, beauty, trials, overcome. Reversed means failure or foolish designs. In this one, it says, the Lovers suggest being at a crossroads somewhere in your life. While this card is highly symbolic of relationships, love, and togetherness, it could also be revealing a positive business partnership or teaming up to move forward in your life. The answer to your question is yes. All right. So hopefully those resonate with you, and you will glean a meaning that you can attribute to the card and start doing your own readings. All right, moving on to the Chariot, movement forward. Victory. Okay, so the Chariot means succor, providence, also war, triumph, presumption, vengeance, trouble. Reversed, it's riot, quarrel, dispute, litigation, and defeat. In this one, it means reveals some sort of journey with a positive connotation. This journey will most likely be a progression of some sort. It could also be the final success you've been working for. The confidence, direction, and victory shown through this card indicate the answer is yes. Then we move on to strength. Strength. My book broke. Okay. Strength, power, energy, action, courage, magnanimity, or like magnanimous, but magnanimity, I can't say it. Reverse, abuse of power, despotism, weakness, and discord. In this now broken book, says that the strength card the strength card shows a presence of self-assurance and confidently facing problems in your life. It suggests a person who enjoys power, but has the capacity to exercise great self-control in all matters. Patience and strength may be required in your pursuits, and the answer you seek is most likely yes. So confidence and courage, and having the strength to do, what you need to do, is how I personally interpret this card. The Hermit, self-reflection. That's what that means for me. So the Hermit, it says, prudence also, and especially treason, dissimulation, corruption, roguery. In the reverse, it means concealment, disguise, policy, fear, unreasoned caution. And in this book, the Hermit is a card symbolic of seeking some sort of spiritual enlightenment. Solitary, introspection, and contemplation are also associated with the Hermit. Perhaps some soul searching and reflection are required on your part. The answer to your question, therefore, is maybe. So you can see how the interpretations kind of evolve and change. And I just kind of want to go back to the Hermit here. The difference there's a significant difference for the Hermit in this definition, for the old deck, or the old, Kaplan version of the interpretation, versus what the interpretation is of this deck, which is kind of anonymous, because there's nobody in here attributed, at least that I can tell. Yeah. There's nobody attributed. What a nice person to write this for us. In any case, I think today most readers look at this as self-reflection. Going inward to find answers. And the one keyword that I see for the Hermit in the older version of this book is prudence. Because being prudent, you are having to reflect a bit. You are going to have to like kind of weigh what the different options are in order to find a way forward. So you can read it both ways. It just depends on how the cards lay out and the story that's appearing to you through your own intuition. That little voice inside will give you the answers. And if you hear it, say it. That's what I do. Okay. Wheel of Fortune. Oh, Wheel of Fortune. Destiny, fortune, success, luck, felicity, reverse, increase, abundance, and superfluity. Some people call this like the karmic cycle. Some people say what goes up must come down, right? Which is kind of how I use it. What goes up must come down. In this book, it says the Wheel of Fortune stands for luck, changes, and a new direction in your life. While it also shows ups and downs, the overall feel of the card, the overall feel of the card is a positive one, indicating changes for the better and good fortune. The answer you are looking for is yes. Okay, so then we move on to the Justice card. The Justice card is all about karma, fairness, and balance in different affairs in your life. It does not suggest an outcome that is either for or against you, but accountability, dignity, and integrity are all liked to its presence. There is no clear-cut answer to your question. Okay, I did this in the opposite, apologize. So we'll go ahead and read the Justice in the original. Equity, rightness, probity, executive, reversed, law in all departments, bigotry, bias, excessive severity. So oftentimes I just kind of assume that this is legal matters or contracts when I'm reading the deck, and that's just the simplest definition. Number 12, the Hanged Man. Wisdom, trials, circumspection, discernment, sacrifice, intuition, divination, prophecy. Reversed is selfishness, the crowd, body, politic. Or the crowd and then body politic. Good gracious. Okay. So in here, the Hangman suggests some sort of metamorphosis through breaking patterns, letting go, or going through a period of transition. Although it could indicate having given something up in order to gain a fresh perspective, it has neither positive or negative connotations. And when I read this book, this picture, the Hanged Man, I think of it as surrendering to something that maybe has held you back. I also look at it as a shift in perspective. Because he's hanging upside down. He's not killing himself. And then the position, I know this from other books. I don't remember the meaning. So you'll have to watch more videos when I come across it again. But this does have like a Freemason kind of shape thing here with his legs, the way that they're crossed. So he's willingly up there shifting his perspective. He's not like hanging in punishment. Okay. The Death card. Let's move on to death. End, mortality, destruction, corruption. Reversed, it means inertia, sleep, lethargy, petrification, somnambulism. I don't even know what that means. And in this one, it says the Death card shows some sort of dramatic change in order to have a new beginning. It is often associated with some sort of loss, failure, or destruction. The overall tone of this card is dark and not good. Thus, your answer is no. So, I don't believe that this is a scary card. A lot of people depict the Death card as transformation. And I think I try to relate it to like the seasons, right? So in the fall, all the leaves on the trees fall off and they essentially die only to be reborn again in the spring. So turning over a new leaf is kind of like what I think of it. There's a death in the method of thinking, or a change in your thinking is kind of how I think of the death card. You know, putting to rest one way of thinking to make room for a new way of thinking. But it can mean like actual dying, but in most cases it means some sort of rebirth. So take that for what it's worth. Hopefully you will find a meaning that suits you. Temperance. So in this book, Temperance is economy, moderation, frugality, management, accommodation. Reversed, things connected with churches, religions, sex, the priesthood. Also unfortunate combinations, disunion, competing interests. In this book, Temperance, and this is just the basic intro card deck that you get on Amazon that has that soulmate oracle red box. Look at the beginning. In any case, in this booklet, the Temperance, let's see, suggests divine intervention, balance, and harmony. The positive overall presence of this card in your spread reveals high level of self-confidence and control in your endeavors. The answer provided by this card is most likely yes. The Devil. All right, so for me, the devil is the ego. It's that nasty thing that tells me negative thoughts in my head, right? What I should have done, what I could have done, what I could be better at. I don't know. The negative side of ego. All right, so the devil, ravage, violence, force, vehemence, extraordinary efforts, fatality, that which is predestined but not for this reason, evil. Reversed, evil, fatality, weakness, pettiness, blindness. And in this deck, the devil is about all things negative. Anger, violence, temptation, fear, and doubt are just some of the terrors associated with this card. It suggests feeling trapped, perhaps in an unhealthy relationship, an addiction, or a lie. Without a doubt, this card is telling you no. So, I really identify with this deck a lot more than the original, and definitely a lot more than this one that was done too many years ago to mention. Decades ago. Okay, anyway. Next we have the Tower. This is such a frightening card. Lightning bolt, fire bursting out of the top of it. Foundation looks all right, but these guys are just bailing out. I should know more a description of these yellow things. I'm sure it's like flames falling out, or maybe they're on fire. This guy's on fire, maybe. And then we've got a crown kind of toppling off here. Okay, any case, the Tower. And this one, written by Kaplan, is misery, distress, ruin, indigence, adversity, calamity, disgrace, deception. Reverse, according to one account, the same in a lesser degree. Also oppression, imprisonment, and tyranny. Okay, so I've always found that this version of the writing is a little darker sometimes. Like it just, and I don't think day-to-day life is quite that muddy. Do you know what I'm saying? Like in the physical kind of, but there's a realness to that as well. So I respect it. And it is where we started to get what we have today. And today, with the kind of meaning everybody's learning, is the Tower is all about unexpected events and changes coming up in your life. However, the changes are along the lines of something catastrophic. disastrous and overall negative. It could be related to some sort of accident, disaster, or damage to another area of your life. The answer provided by this card is no. And I want to say, just kind of like, for me, these things catastrophic, like disastrous, like if you're next to a wand, I might say something like about business. Or if you're next to swords, it's kind of thinking, and then if it's next to pentacles, then maybe something truly in the physical world is catastrophic, broken car or something like that. And then if it's what's the other one, cups, then you would think like a divorce, right? Then you would think kind of more like a divorce. So I always think that the Tower card, the Devil card, and the Death card for me are kind of like, and maybe that's just because I'm Scorpio and these come out for us all the time. But these are super important cards when kind of like navigating some of the bigger events in life. Okay, moving on. The star is number 17, loss, theft, privation, abandonment, although another reading suggests hope and bright prospects in the future, reversed, arrogance, impotence, and haughtiness. All right, let's see what this one says. And I'll give my 2 cents. Okay, the star is symbolic of hope, renewal, and beauty. It suggests a period of spiritual tranquility, happiness, and positive opportunities. The overall feeling of this card is optimistic and serene. The answer suggested by its presence is yes. So a lot of people are using this as celebrity or fame. And I think I use it a lot as hope. But it's like all of these things together: hope, renewal, beauty. Like when you have hope again, after a kind of a low point, and you kind of renew and turn into a butterfly or rise from the ashes like a phoenix. It says, there is something tranquil about being kind of reborn, right? And clean from whatever kind of renewal or healing that you've gone through. And then you find like a happiness and joy within yourself. And then positive opportunities kind of draw themselves to you. So I look very much at this card like a law of attraction card. But yeah, that's it. This to me is a law of attraction card, a hope card. And yeah, when you have all of those things, you're kind of in line with spirit. Okay, moving on. Too much, maybe. All right, let's see the moon. Maybe not. All right, let's see. The moon, 18, hidden enemies, danger. Oh, I should let you guys see. I don't know which I want you to see, the text or the picture. We'll just do it this way. Hidden enemies, danger, calumny, darkness, terror, deception, error, reversed, instability, inconsistency, silence, lesser degrees of deception and error. And in the new definitions for like the new millennia, we're looking at the moon is an elusive and confusing card. It suggests the presence of risks, secrets, and some level of mental confusion. It would warn you to take caution and be careful in whatever endeavor you are pursuing in your life. The answer you are seeking is no. So I always look at this as a shadow card. These are addressing things that you don't like necessarily shining a light on. This paired with the Hermit, to me, would be that you're working on it. Either of those cards in the reverse would be like, you need to work on it. That's how I interpret that one. The Sun. So for the Sun, this is material happiness, fortunate marriage, contentment. And in the reverse, it's the same in a lesser sense. And in this, in the new way of, the millennial version, is being the opposition to the moon, is a card full of life, joy, and energy. It reveals positive achievement, successful endeavors, and an overall manifestations of good fortune in your life. Thus, the answer it provides for you, for your question, is yes. So I think of this card as like, the inner child is happy. All your dreams have come true. You're living at Disneyland. In this direction, I'm like, Mom got you ice cream on Friday. Or, that's it. That would be the difference for me. Okay, so for the judgment card, the old way, Mr. Kaplan's way, change of position, renewal, outcome. In the reverse, weakness, pusillanimity. I have no idea what that means. Simplicity, also deliberation, decision, and sentence. And in the new version, where are we here? Oh, judgment, sorry. The judgment card is representative of some sort of change or transformation, likely one that has already occurred. It could mean the presence of a spiritual or professional calling and making decisions that will lead to your success. The answer to your question is yes. And then, I think of this card as kind of like an awakening, kind of like an epiphany. And once you have that epiphany, there's like, well, I can continue thinking the way that I did and whatever, but then you gotta like think the new way, right? You have a choice. You have an awakening. Sometimes you can't go back to an old way of thinking. Okay, in any case, let's move on to the world. The world. The world in the Kaplan version is assured success, route, voyage, emigration, flight, change of place. In the reverse, it's inertia, fixity, stagnation, and permanence. And in the new version, for the millennium, is the world card means satisfaction and success at a journey's end, fulfillment, rewards, certainty, and positive outcomes are all things directly associated with the presence of this card. The answer, more than likely, is yes. Okay. Moving on to Wands. All right, the King of Wands, the physical and emotional nature to which this card is attributed is dark, ardent, lithe, animated, impassioned, noble. And in the millennial version of this, the King of Wands is voracious, determined, and confident authority figure. He represents some sort of expansion, establishment of something in your professional life or financial gain along with success. He's a positive presence likely to bring along positive outcomes. The answer is yes. So yeah, people are the hardest for me to to remember for some reason. But voracious, kind of like going like a businessman. I really think of him as a businessman. So being determined and confident, kind of authority figure. So maybe like entrepreneurial kind of person. So that's my impression of him. And in the millennial version of this, the King of Wands is voracious, determined, and confident authority figure. He represents some sort of expansion, establishment of something in your professional life or financial gain along with success. He is a positive presence likely to bring along positive outcomes. The answer is yes. Queen of Wands. Queen of Wands. Kaplan version. Throughout this suit, the wands are always in leaf, as it is a suit of life and animation, emotionally and otherwise. The queen's personality corresponds to that of the king, but is more magnetic. Divinatory meanings: a dark woman or countrywoman, friendly, chaste, loving, honorable. If the card beside her signifies a man, she is well disposed towards him. If a woman, she is interested in the querent. Also, love of money, Reversed, good, economical, obliging, serviceable, also signifies opposition, jealousy, deceit, and infidelity. In this version, or in the millennial version, it says the Queen of Wands is a lively, passionate, and independent woman. She suggests a person who is career-oriented and successful, honest, thoughtful, and confident. The presence of this card shows someone seeking positive self-development, and the answer associated with it is yes. And then we have the Knight of Wands, and he is shown as if upon a journey, armed with a short wand, and although mailed is not on a warlike errand, he is passing mounds or pyramids. Divinatory meaning: departure, absence, flight, emigration, a dark young man, friendly, change of residence. In the reverse, rupture, division, interruption, discord. All right. And the Nine of Wands here is an ambitious, energetic, and determined leader. Although there are challenges associated with this card, embracing them as something positive to come is suggested. Even though the changes are unpredictable, believing in yourself and having courage is best. Your answer is yes. So I kind of think of the Knight of Wands as like a passionate businessman, but he also kind of like, the wands for me is always passion. So if he's moving towards like his passion, he's usually traveling, might have a job that's traveling, like all over the world, or it could be locally. He could be traveling locally, like he drives for his job, or other things. But but movement around with passion. All right. And then 10 of Wands. Page of Wands. Page of Wands. In a scene similar to the former, a young man stands in the act of proclamation. He is unknown but faithful. His tidings are strange. Divinatory meanings: dark young man, faithful, a lover, an envoy, a postman. Beside a man, he will bear favorable testimony concerning him. He is a dangerous rival, if followed by the Page of Cups. He has the chief qualities of his suit: reversed, anecdotes, announcements, evil news, all indecision, and the instability which usually accompanies it. I always think of all pages as some sort of a message. So take that for what it is. If that resonates for you and that works for you, that's one way of interpreting all pages, is that they are messages, letters, texts, phone calls, stuff like that. If I have Page next to Justice, I'm going to think there's court documents, especially if it's the Page of Wands or the Page of Pentacles. So I'm like, court documents related to a business, court documents related to a divorce, for emotional stuff. I don't know, court documents for, if I was going to do for swords, it would be like patents or something like that. And then like for pentacles, maybe you'd be going to court over money of some sort, and be money or property. And it wouldn't necessarily be court. It could just be documents, court documents, or, government filings, taxes, stuff like that. Okay, so Page of Wands. In a scene similar to the former, a young man stands in the act of proclamation. He is unknown but faithful, and his tidings are strange. I already read this. Okay, so let's do the millennial one. The Page of Wands is energetic, lively, and fearless. Youth who possesses a can-do attitude and a hands-on approach. This card represents being adventurous and ambitious and overcoming fears and starting new projects. Using your skills and courage, the answer that you seek is yes. You know what? I didn't finish this. I got all into the postman thing. All right, so I'm just going to read it again because I would feel bad if I didn't read it and I thought I did. So, oh well, here it is. Okay, so we'll just start with this is the Kaplan version of it, and the divinatory meaning is dark young man, faithful, a lover, an envoy, a postman. Beside a man, he will bear favorable testimony concerning him. He is a dangerous rival. If followed by the Page of Cups, he has chief qualities of his suit, reversed anecdotes, announcements, evil news, also indecision and the instability which usually accompanies it. Maybe I did read the whole thing. Thank you for being patient with me. Here we go, 10 of Wands. 10 of Wands, a man oppressed by the weight of 10 staves which he is carrying. Divinatory meaning, a card of many significance, and some of the readings cannot be harmonized. I set aside that which connects it with honor and good faith. It is oppression, simply, but it is also fortune, gain, any kind of success of these things. It is also a card of false seeming, disguise, perfidy. The place which the figure is approaching may suffer from the rods that he carries. Success is stultified. If the Nine of Swords follows, and it is a question of a lawsuit, there will be certain loss. In the reverse, contrarieties, difficulties, intrigues, and their analogies. Millennial version of the 10 of Wands is a card highly associated with feeling an intense pressure and being overburdened in some area of your life. Other possible things suggested by this card are feelings of being trapped, oppressed, or having no control over your circumstances. With an overall negative tone, the answer is no. And so this is kind of like overburdened is even how I look at it. This is more of the millennial definition of it. This is actually a more advanced definition of the 10 of Wands in this Kaplan version because it's talking about card pairings here. And I really kind of feel like card pairings are important, but it's your intuition and how you perceive these cards. If you're looking at this card and you're like, oh, that's just too much, do you know what I mean? Then it's a burden for you. That's how it resonates for you. Now, as you do more research, you'll attribute new feelings to these same pictures. As you have new decks, you'll attribute new feelings to those pictures on those decks. And the 10 of Wands may come to mean different meanings. And then as you see them next to different cards, it'll have other meanings. But I really feel like the definition in the Kaplan version of just like the basic tarot book is actually quite a bit more advanced than just a beginner. So I would recommend, it's a soulmate one. It has an oracle deck. It's red and black, and I showed it at the beginning. I definitely recommend this one. It's just a great starting beginner deck. So in terms of the Rider Waite. Nine of Wands. The figure leans upon his staff and has an expectant look as if awaiting an enemy. Behind him are 8 other staves erect in orderly disposition, like a palisade. Divinatory meanings. The card signifies strength and opposition. If attacked, he will meet the onslaught boldly. With this main significance, there are all its possible adjuncts, including delay, suspension, adjournment. Reversed, it's obstacles, adversity, calamity. That's for the Kaplan version. And then for the millennial version, Nine of Wands shows determination and courage under fire. However, it also indicates a need for being cautious and defensive in struggles that are yet to come. There is nothing that suggests a more positive or negative outcome in these matters, and thus the answer is maybe. So for me, the Nine of Wands is boundaries. In other decks that I've encountered, that is the meaning that I understand the Nine of Wands to be, boundaries. Some people say wounded warrior. So if you think of a wounded warrior, they're going to have their defenses up, right? They're maybe not going to trust as easily. So boundaries can be healthy or not healthy. That's just how I interpret that particular card. So if you're looking for a one-word definition, anything I just read could resonate for you. Just take that and leave the rest. Okay. 8 of Wands. In the Kaplan version, we have This card represents motion through the immovable, a flight of wands through an open country, divinatory meaning, activity and undertakings, the path of such activity, swiftness as that of an express messenger, great haste, great hope, speed towards an end, which promises assured felicity, that which is on the move, also the arrows of love. Reversed arrows of jealousy, internal dispute, stinging of conscience, and quarrels. Let me just go to this one first. Eight of Wands, I think it's consensus anyways. Okay, the Eight of Wands stands for some sort of journey or travel. It suggests events that will move quickly and opportunities that are set to arrive unpredictably while overcoming obstacles. It shows an end to some sort of delay or blockage in your life. The answer to your question is most likely yes. I interpret this card, my one-word definition is movement. Moving forward, moving. in any context, going on a journey, travel. It just depends on if you're planning something, move forward, kind of. Yeah. So there you go. That's all the meanings there. Swiftness is a good one because it kind of moves quickly. Express messenger too. That's good if it's like paired with like pages or other things that kind of indicate the message. Great would maybe also be another meaning because it has great haste, great hope, speed towards an end, which promises assured felicity. So I just kind of feel like great would be like an attribute. So if you're just going to create sentences out of your cards, sort of, then you, for me, it would just be movement. But if you have anything around it, like a happiness card, it'd be great movement. That's all. Okay, moving on. Seven of Wands. A young man on a craggy eminence brandishing a staff. 6 other staves are waved toward him from below. Divinatory meaning, it is a card of valor, for on the surface 6 are attacking one who has, however, the vantage position. On the intellectual plane, it signifies discussion, wordy strife. In business, negotiations, war of trade, barter, competition. It is a further card of success, for the combatant is on the top and his enemies may be unable to reach him. Reversed, perplexity, embarrassments, anxiety. And then for the millennial version, 7 of Wands represents a long-term success due to the strength it takes to overcome obstacles and being up for yourself. Overcoming obstacles and being able to take on calculated risks, using courage to stand up for yourself. What is best is what this card is all about. The answer you are seeking is yes. So when I look at this picture, I look that he is standing his ground. He is above his competition because they're not using swords. They're using wands. Wands is business, right? So he's above his competition. That's kind of how I interpret that. I also look at it as a leadership position, right? Because everybody's fighting to get to the top. Get as much power they can in a corporation. It just is what it is. So, yeah. There's the meanings for the 7. I look at it as competition. 6 of Wands. A laureled horseman bears staff adorned with laurel crown. Footmen with staves are at his side. Divinatory meanings. The card has been so designed that it can cover several significations. On the surface, it's a victor's triumphing, but it's also great news, such as might be carried in a state by the king's courier. It is expectation crowned with its own desire, the crown of hope. Reversed, apprehension, fear as a victorious enemy at the gate, treachery, disloyalty as the gates of being opened to the enemy. And in the millennial, it says the 6 of Wands shows triumph, victory, and success in your endeavors. It suggests a person feeling exalted because of winning and finding the inspiration needed to move forward. Good news is the overall feeling is in the presence of this card. The answer is yes. So another way of reading cards is imagining what happened before he got here. Sometimes your story will tell you. But I always look at this as like a victory, right? A celebration after a struggle. And the next card before this, because these kind of go in a story, so I don't know why these are going backwards, but it is what it is. So here, well, maybe this one is the one I said competition. The other one is more like leadership. Anyways, this is kind of like training. All right, sorry. Distracted. So the Five of Wands is a posse of youths are posse of youths are brandishing staves as if in sport or strife. It is mimic warfare, and here too corresponds the divinatory meaning the upright. Imitation, for example, sham, fight, the strenuous competition and struggle of the search after riches and fortune. Hence, some attributions say that it is a card of gold, gain, opulence. Reversed, it is trickery, contradiction, litigation, and disputes. 5 of Wands. A posse of youths are brandishing staves as if in sport or strife. It is mimic warfare, and here to correspond the divinatory meaning is imitation, for example, sham fight, the strenuous competition and struggle of the search after riches and fortune. Hence, some attributions say that this is a card of gold, gain, opulence. Reversed, trickery, contradictions, litigation, and disputes. And in the millennial, the Five of Wands suggests being challenged in some way and having to defend yourself against others. It brings with it feelings of struggle, anxiety, and overall unease with internal battles yet to come. The negative foreboding presented with this card provides an answer of no. Okay. 4 of Wands. Four of Wands. From the 4 great staves planted in the foreground, there is a great garland suspended. 2 female figures uplift nosegays, and at their side is a bridge over a moat leading to an old manorial house. Divinatory meaning. They are for once almost on the surface country life. Repose, concord, harmony, prosperity, peace, and the perfected work of these. Reversed, the meaning remains unaltered, increase, felicity, beauty, embellishment. The millennial 4 of Wands represents pleasurable and harmonious new beginnings. It stands for successfully completing something in your life and brings with it feelings of happiness, balance, and forward progression toward good things to come. The answer you are seeking is yes. Then we go to 3 of Wands, and a calm, stately figure with his back turned, looking from a cliff's edge at ships passing over the sea. 3 staves are planted in the ground, and he leans slightly on one of them. Divinatory meanings. He symbolizes established strength, enterprise, effort, trade, discovery, commerce. Those are his ships bearing his merchandise, which are sailing over the sea. In the reverse, the end of troubles, suspension, or end of adversity, disappointment, and toil. And the millennial version is the 3 of Wands stands for fresh starts, achievements, and positive partnerships. It could mean some sort of business expansion, or it could be the confirmation that you are on the right path toward success. It has an overall positive tone, and the answer it provides you with is yes. All right. 2 of Wands. A tall man looks from a battlemented roof over the sea and shore. He holds a globe in his right hand, and a staff in his left rests on the battlement. Another is fixed in a ring. The rose and cross and lily should also be noticed on the left side. Divinatory meanings. Between the alternative readings, there is no marriage possible. On the one hand, riches, fortune, magnificence. On the other, physical suffering, disease, chagrin, sadness, mortification. The design gives one suggestion. Here's a lord overlooking his dominion and alternately contemplating a globe. It looks like the malady, the mortification, the sadness of Alexander amidst the grandeur of the world's wealth. Reversed, surprise, wonder, enchantment, emotion, trouble, and fear. And the millennial version says the Two of Wands shows being in control and experiencing gains in your life on one hand. On the other, it brings with it great anxiety and the possibility of losing the control that you once had. The dynamism projected through this card does not provide a clear answer. Maybe is what it suggests. All right, and then we go to the Ace of Wands, which is a hand issuing from a cloud grasps a stout wand or club. Divinatory meanings: creation, invention, enterprise, the powers which result in these principles, beginning source, birth, family origin, the beginning of enterprises, according to another account, money, fortune, inheritance. Reversed, fall, decadence, ruin, perdition, to perish, also cloud of joy. Ace of Wands for the millennial version is an inventive, creative card suggesting some sort of passionate union, positive new beginnings, or the birth of something powerful and inspiring yet to come in your life. It could be a new project or something creative that you will be taking on. The answer to your question is most likely yes. Okay. King of Cups. He holds a short scepter in his left hand and a great cup in his right. His throne is set upon the sea. On one side a ship is riding, and on the other a dolphin is leaping. The implicit is that the sign of the cup naturally refers to water, which appears in all the court cards. The divinatory meaning: fair man, man of business, law, or divinity, responsible, disposed to oblige the querent. Also equity, art, and science, including those who profess science, law, and art, creative intelligence. Reversed is dishonest, double-dealing man, roguery, exaction, injustice, vice, and scandal. For the millennial version, the king is a compassionate, warm, and gentle voice of reason. He is an authoritative man with strong intuition and vast spiritual knowledge. This card represents being able to make decisions by channeling experiences and being able to give good, helpful advice. Neither positive nor negative in nature, the answer is unclear. Queen of Cups. Queen of Cups, beautiful, fair, dreamy woman, as one who sees visions in a cup. Divinatory meaning: good, fair woman, honest, devoted, who will do service to the querent. Loving intelligence, and hence the gift of vision, success, happiness, pleasure, also wisdom and virtue. Reversed, the accounts may vary: a good woman, otherwise distinguished woman, but one not to be trusted, perverse woman. Vice, dishonor, depravity. All right, and the Queen of Cups in the millennial version is a sensitive, quiet, and virtuous woman who represents seeking and channeling a transformation within. She suggests a person who is a good listener and a loving counselor. Like her counterpart, the King of Cups, her presence is neither positive nor negative, and she brings an unclear answer to your question. The Knight of Cups. All right, graceful, not warlike, riding quietly, wearing a winged helmet, referring to the higher graces of the imagination, which sometimes characterize this card. Divinatory meaning: arrival, approach, sometimes that of a messenger, advances, proposition, demeanor, invitation, incitement. The Knight of Cups is in the millennial version, the Knight of Cups is a romantic and compassionate dreamer, bringing along new opportunities or some sort of positive invitation. He represents acceptance, and an arrival to finding the proper path for your life. The answer you are looking for is yes. And this is like Prince Charming, who's coming to get his princess. Like, that's how I always look at the Knight of Cups, as somebody offering love or sending a message of love. All right, Page of Cups. I missed something on here. In the Kaplan version, I missed the reversed, which means trickery, artifice, subtlety, swindling, duplicity, and fraud. So, ouch. Using your emotions against you, basically to rob you, is this knight. Okay. Now we can move on to the Page of Cups. A fair, pleasing, somewhat effeminate page, a studious and intent aspect, contemplates a fish rising from a cup to look at him. Divinatory meanings: fair young man, one impelled to render service and with whom the querent will be connected. A studious youth, news, message, application, reflection, meditation, also these things directed to business. Reverse: taste, inclination, attachment, seduction, deception, and artifice. So the Page of Cups in the reverse with the Knight of Cups. Be like, whoever is coming at you, don't believe them at all. Okay. And in the millennial version, the Page of Cups is a gentle, artistic dreamer type messenger. He brings with him announcements of good news and messages of new, serene beginnings. All dealings with this card are of a positive nature, and the answer it represents is yes. Okay. And then we'll move on to the Ten of Cups. Appearance of the cups in a rainbow is contemplated in wonder and ecstasy by a man and woman below, evidently husband and wife. His right arm is about her, his left raised upward as she raises her arm. The two children dancing near them have not observed the prodigy, but are happy after their own manner. There is a home scene beyond. Divinatory meanings: contentment, repose of the entire heart, the perfection of that state. If with several picture cards, a person who is taking charge of the querent's interest, also the town, village, or country inhabited by the querent. Reversed is repose of the false heart, indignation, and violence. Okay, so for the Ten of Cups, the millennial version, it says it represents the perfect harmony, abundance, and happiness. It suggests perhaps personal or family dreams coming true and an overall sense of satisfaction and security in life. Positive achievements and emotional stability ahead of you. The answer you seek is yes. All right, Nine of Cups in the Kaplan version says, the goodly personage is feasting to his heart's content, and abundant refreshment of wine is on the arched counter behind him. Divinatory meaning: concord, contentment, physical bien-être. It's, I don't know. That's what entre, bien-entre. Anyways, also victory, success, advantage, satisfaction for the querent or the person for whom the consultation is made. Reversed, it's truth, loyalty, liberation, but the readings vary and include mistakes, imperfections, etc. In the millennial version, this card means the Nine of Cups shows feelings of joy, satisfaction, pleasure, and overall contentment. Its presence is indicative of a bright future brimming with good times and bliss. Or good times, bliss, and a period of your wishes all being granted. The answer you are looking for is yes. Then we go to the Eight of Cups. I always look at this card as walking away. I read another definition today that it's like lazy. Okay, so this says, a man of dejected aspect is deserting the cups of his felicity, enterprise, undertaking, or previous concern. Divinatory meaning: the card speaks for itself on the surface, but other readings are entirely antithetical, giving joy mildness, timidity, honor, modesty. Reversed is great joy, happiness, and feasting. I don't know. If you've made all this stuff happen and all your wishes have come true here, isn't it time for a new adventure sometimes? Just saying. It's okay to go to sabbatical. Eight of Cups shows, this is the millennial version. The Eight of Cups shows some degree of change happening in your lifestyle. It brings feelings of despondency, indifference, and avoidance. It could indicate a need to give up, leave, or turn away from something in your current life. The melancholy feeling associated with this card suggests no. Then we move on to the 7, all of our wishes. Strange chalices of vision, divinatory meanings, fairy favors, images of reflection, imagination, sentiment, things seen in the glass of contemplation. Some attainment in these degree, but nothing permanent or substantial is suggested. Reversed as desire, will, determination, project. And the millennial version of the 7 of Cups symbolizes confusing decisions, wishful thinking, and temptation due to a lack of morality. Delusional ambitions and poor choices are associated with this card. It brings a definite feeling of pessimism and negativity. The answer is no. All right, we'll go to the 6 of Cups. 6 of Cups is children in an old garden, their cups filled with flowers. The divinatory meaning, a card of memories and of the past, for example, reflecting on childhood happiness, enjoyment, but coming rather from the past things that have vanished. Another reading reverses this, suggesting new relations, new environment, and new knowledge. Reversed, renewal, the future, that which will come to pass presently. And for the millennial, it says the 6 of Cups says something by the way of reconciliation and leaving the past behind. It could mean some sort of an apology or returning to the past to unlock skeletons from the closet. There's a sense of relief and moving forward with its presence, and the answer you seek is likely yes. I also think of this as inner child. For me, this is very much an inner child card. But we all do our different meditations on the tarot in our own tarot journey and our own spiritual journey as we seek out our, spiritual family, spiritual guidance. Okay, so we get to the 5 of Cups in the Kaplan version of the definitions. Is a dark cloaked figure, looks at three prone cups. 2 other cups stand upright behind him. A bridge is in the background. Divinatory meanings. It is a card of loss, but something remains. 3 have been taken, but 2 are left. It is a card of inheritance, transmission, and patrimony. It may be a card of marriage, but not without bitterness or frustration. Reversed, it's news, alliances, affinity, ancestry, return, and false projects. The millennial version is a regretful card full of sadness, loss, and despondency. It could be a sign of not appreciating what you have in life or possibly avoidance of something yet to come. The disappointment and discontent associated with this card provide an answer of no to your question. And I'm going to throw a wrench in this whole thing, and I'm going to pull out the 5 in the Thoth deck. The Thoth deck was basically, Rider Waite's real name, something Waite. But anyways, I should know it, but he was friends with Aleister Crowley, and they each had their own deck. So this Aleister Crowley deck is the 5 of Cups for the Thoth deck, or the Thoth deck. This is out at the same time that the Rider Waite deck came out because they were part of the same club. And this is like each of the different guys who were part of this secret society, or the something of the hermetic. I don't know. They based what they did on the Hermetic tarot, which is, this one, which was like a secret order. So both of these decks are based off of this deck. If tarot can't be any more confusing. But here's the thing. The two guys who wrote this deck in the 1900s both knew each other. That's the point of this. And the meanings are so similar but slightly different that I figured I'd just kind of throw it out there just to show you how much there is and how much depth and breadth there is to learning the tarot. So Aleister Crowley, I don't know. This is just a little book, just a teeny tiny book. And it has 4 sections where it talks about the same cards. So that's a little, what? So anyways, obviously this card means disappointment. It has the sign of Virgo at the base of this cup here. And it says disappointment, end of pleasure, disturbance when least expected, misfortune, disappointment in love, unkindness from friends, loss of friendship, treachery, ill will, sadness, vain regret. And then we move on to the next version. It says disappointment. And then it says Geburah in the suit of water, Mars in Scorpio. So now we're getting timing events for the Thoth Tarot. The cups are empty. They're arranged in an inverted pentagram. They symbolize the triumph of matter over spirit. So that's another meaning for that. And then we have, I'm feeling like I missed one, but I didn't. Okay. So in the last meaning, it says disappointment, Mars and Scorpio. Geburah, the cups are arranged on the stalks of the lotus in an inverted pentagram. Love has lost its first glamour. So just to kind of, I mean, they're very, very similar in definition, but slightly different enough that, I don't know, like seasoned tarot readers are like, this is the better deck. I don't really think it matters. I think anything that's accessible and resonates for you is going to be the better deck. But there's, I don't know. Is there anything better? Are the pictures today better? I mean, I would say so, but like then when I look at these pictures, I'm like, I couldn't do today's tarots, like the Muse Tarot, you know, like something like this if we didn't have this. So, you know, I just, this is a 1910 artist interpretation. So is the other one. So Thoth Tarot seems like a lot more like esoteric for the time. But this made it really approachable, I think, for people to start learning the tarot. Okay, moving on. Let's bring this back. We'll put that there. And we'll go on to the Four of Cups in the Kaplan version of the book here, of the mini book. So a young man is seated under a tree and contemplates the Three of Cups set on the grass before him. He expresses discontent with his environment. An arm issuing from a cloud offers him another cup. Divinatory meanings: weariness, disgust, aversion, imaginary vexations, as if the wine of this world had caused satiety only. Another cup of wine, it's I can't say it, it's satiate, right? Satiate, with the Y at it, satiate with the Y. Another cup of wine, as if a fairy gift, is now offered him, but he sees no consolation therein. This is also a card of blended pleasure. Reverse, it means novelty, omen, new instruction, new relations. Now, in the millennial version of this, this says, the Four of Cups is an indifferent card showing a sense of apathy, boredom, and even disappointment. It could mean that you need to reevaluate some area of your life, or possibly that you are just settling for where you are and with opportunities have been, wait, sorry. I had to staple my book together, so the binding's getting in the way of the words. Okay. Apathy, boredom, even disappointment. It could mean that you need to reevaluate some area of your life, or possibly that you are just settling for where you are and with opportunities having been missed. There is no clear answer right now. So I feel like no inspiration when I see this card. I don't know. There's a lot of different ways you can interpret this card. On the positive, he can be like, I mean, he's still manifesting. He's still manifesting these cups to come miraculously to him. But there's also kind of like a rejection with his arms crossed of having that new cup. So yeah, bored with the cup she sent me. All right, here we go. Three of Cups. In the Kaplan version, the Three of Cups, maidens in a garden celebrate with cups uplifted as if pledging one another. Divinatory meanings, the conclusion of any matter, plenty, perfection, merriment, happiness, victory, fulfillment, solace, healing. Reversed is expedition, dispatch, achievement, end. The millennial version of the Three of Cups brings with it an abundance of love and joy. It suggests happy gatherings or celebrations and success in various aspects of your life. It is associated with loving celebrations and close relationships, and it means the answer you seek is yes. The Two of Cups in the Kaplan version is a youth and maiden are pledging to one another. Above their cup rises the caduceus of Hermes, between whose great wings there appears a lion's head. Divinatory meaning, love, passion, friendship, affinity, union, concord, sexual relations, that which nature has sanctified. Reversed is false love, folly, misunderstanding. And in the new millennium version, it says, the Two of Cups shouts about love, positive relationships, and togetherness. It suggests a life full of close bonds, good friendships, and mutual love and respect therein. This card encompasses all happy, positive, loving feelings. The answer it is providing to you is yes. And let's see, the next one, we got the Ace of Cups. Kaplan version, the waters are beneath, upon which are water lilies. The hand issues from the cloud, holding in its palm the cup from which 4 streams are pouring, a dove bearing in its beak a cross-marked host. Descends to place the wafer in the cup. The dew of the water is falling on all sides. It is it's an intimation of that which may lie behind the lesser arcana. Divinatory meaning, true heart, joy, contentment, abode, nourishment, abundance, fertility, holy table, felicity. Reversed, false heart, mutation, instability, revolution. Let's just see what this one says. The new millennium one says the Ace of Cups represents overall satisfaction throughout all different areas of your life. It predicts success and abundance through use of good intuition and creativity. New relationships or possibly a birth or pregnancy could be associated with these positive outlooks. The answer is yes. And I think of this card like for just if I'm making a sentence out of my cards, right? I would say that this is like a new beginning. And then you have like in the story for me it goes the opposite direction of what we're reading it with, because that's what the books are. But then you have like the Two of Cups, so you've got new love, right? New union, and then a union, then a celebration of that union, then we go from you kind of get like take your family and stuff for granted, and so you go to like the Four of Cups, right? You get kind of bored with the status quo. You kind of get into a rut, right? And then they walk away from you, and so then you're grieving because you're so sad that they left. And then you're thinking of the past, right? See how this builds a story? So to me, this is not just the new suit, it is new love and emotion because of water. Anyways, that's my 2 cents. There you have it. Oopsies. All right. Sorry, got off track. Hopefully that was helpful for somebody. Okay, so Ace of Cups. We already read that. So we're going to move on to the King of Swords. Mr. King of Swords. He sits in judgment, holding the unsheathed sign of a suit. Divinatory meaning, whatsoever rises out of the idea of judgment and all its connections, power, command, authority, militant intelligence, law, offices of the crown, and so forth. Reversed, cruelty, evil intentions, perversity, barbarity, breach of faith. And in the millennial version, the definition of the King of Swords is he's an assertive professional decision maker with high intellect and a knack for leadership. He represents big decisions to come and a need to take control and set boundaries while making firm commitments to your goals. This card provides no clear answer, maybe at best. He's also a Gemini or an air sign. Usually it's the air signs, but I always see him as a Gemini. All right. And then we've got the Queen of Swords is an analytical, independent problem solver. She brings with her mental clarity or an end to something troubling. This is the millennial definition. I'm sorry, I went backwards. She brings with her mental clarity or an end to something troubling in your life, but not without a painful loss or separation. She is stoic and astute. Sorry. But gives nothing away as a positive or negative outcome. Maybe is the only answer. And the Kaplan version of this for the Queen of Swords is her right hand raises the weapon vertically, and the hilt rests on an arm of her royal chair. The left hand is extended, the arm raised. Her countenance is severe, chastened, and suggests familiarity with sorrow. Divinatory meaning. Widowhood, female sadness and embarrassment, absence, sterility, mourning, privation, separation. In the reverse, it's malice, bigotry, artifice, prudence, and deceit. Now we'll go back in the right order. So this is the Knight of Swords, and in the Kaplan book, or the original book that comes with the regular tarot decks, with the regular Rider Waite decks. This says the Knight of Swords in full course, as if scattering his enemies. Divinatory meanings: skill, bravery, capacity, defense, address, anonymity, enmity, wrath, war, destruction, opposition, resistance, ruin. Reverse, it's imprudence, incapacity, and extravagance. In the millennial definition, in the deck that I've shown earlier in the video, the Knight of Swords is domineering and destructive. He represents taking control of a project or situation, but in a ruthless manner. This card pretends unexpected loss, conflict, and a need to establish your own ideas and beliefs. The negative tone of this card suggests the answer is no. All right, the Page of Swords. A lithe, active figure holds a sword upright in both hands while in the act of swift walking. Divinatory meanings: authority, overseeing, secret service, vigilance, spying, examination, and the qualities thereto belonging. Reversed, more evil side of these qualities. What is unforeseen and unprepared state sickness is also intimated. Good grief, that's severe. I would kind of say, like, okay, pages are messages, right? A message of the mind, because this is thinking, a well thought out message, maybe a legal message, because it's swords, you know. Let's see what the millennials say about the page. Let's see. The millennial deck says the Page of Swords is an intelligent, logical, and vigilant youth who brings some sort of official news of change. While the changes could prove to be challenging, this card shows pretenses of mental clarity and inner demons being settled and ridden from your life. The most likely answer here is yes. I have also seen this card in the reverse, like the meaning is like insecure. So this is like a very insecure child. So if you're doing any inner child work, that's insecure child right there. Okay, so moving on to the Kaplan version for the Ten of Swords. A prostrate figure, pierced by all the swords belonging to the card. Divinatory meanings whatsoever is intimated by the design. Also pain, affliction, tears, sadness, desolation. Reverse, advantage, profit, success, favor. But none of these are permanent. Also power and authority. So I think you're either the guy getting stabbed in the back or you're the guy stabbing him in the back. It's kind of what I got from that one. You're either in the oppressive or oppression one, or you're in the aggressor one, I guess. So this one, the Ten of Swords for the millennial, shows a sudden ending or a negative outcome in some endeavor in your life. It could mean failure, ruin, or mortality, accompanied by depression and feelings of being broken and crushed by the weight of the world. Harsh and negative. This card says no. All right, so the Kaplan version of the anxious Nine of Swords. One seated on her couch in lamentation with the sword over her. Divinatory meanings: death, failure, miscarriage, delay, deception, disappointment, despair. Reversed is imprisonment, doubt, suspicion, reasonable fear, shame. In the millennial version, the Nine of Swords is symbolic of worry, grief, and anxiety. It could mean a period of mental anguish, some sort of horrible accident, or many sleepless nights to come. A turn for the worse could be ahead of you, and you should be aware of depression and thoughts of self-harm. No is the answer provided here. All right, Eight of Swords. Eight of Swords in the Kaplan version is a woman bound and hoodwinked with the swords of the card about her. The divinatory meaning is bad news, violent chagrin, crisis, censure, power and trammels, conflict, calumny, also sickness. Reversed is disquiet, difficulty, opposition, accident, treachery, and the unforeseen fatality. Good God. That's terrible. The millennial version of this is the Eight of Swords is a card showing the presence of obstructions and difficult obstacles. It shows a fear of failure as well as sheer bad luck. The frustration and constraint overriding the tone of this card points towards an answer of no to the question you are asking. So here's what I think about this card. I feel like she is trapped by her own thoughts. If every one of those swords is a thought, then she is trapped by her own thoughts. She can't see through her own thoughts. Maybe she's having obsessive thoughts. The other thing is, because the swords are kind of like the mind, I almost feel like, because our minds connect to spirit too, just in a different way than our emotions. And I kind of feel like she can't, her thoughts are so narrow that she can't get the inspiration or new thoughts from like spirit. Like each of these swords belongs to a knight somewhere, you know, a guardian angel, so to speak. So she's so blinded by her negative thoughts and she can't get out of them, which means she also can't get the guidance from her spirit guides. Anyways, that's my take on it. It's obsessive thoughts. That's how I kind of like look at it. Unhealthy thoughts. Okay, moving on. So, and fear. Yeah, our own internal fears. The fears that we have that hold us back. Because you can see she's not too far from the castle, and she looks like she's on a path, and it has water, right? So it just feels like, you know, her feet are in emotion, her feet are in water. She's just trapped by her own thinking. Maybe not even letting her emotions out. Anyway, there you have it. Seven of Swords from the Kaplan deck, or from the Kaplan book. A man in the act of carrying away 5 swords rapidly. The 2 others of the card remain stuck in the ground. A camp close at hand. Divinatory meaning: design, attempt, wish, hope, confidence, also quarreling. A plan that may fail, annoyance. Reversed is good advice, counsel, instruction, slander, or babbling. The Seven of Swords in the millennium brings failure as well as obvious pessimism. It suggests the possibility of theft or not living up to your full potential in the future, either due to unknown opponents or possibly because of mental procrastination on your part. The answer you're looking for is no. So I look at this card, like my one-word definitions for this card is like theft and deception. Right? Because he's sneaking away from camp with all of these swords. Well, who let him into camp to take all their swords in the first place? So he's probably a liar, a thief, a con artist, right? And in the reverse, how I've read this card in the past is a confession. So there you have it. We've got them both in there. So now we'll move on to the Six of Swords. The Six of Swords, a ferryman carrying passengers and is punt to the further shore. Divinatory meaning, journey by water, route, way, envoy, commissary, expedient. Reverse is declarations, confession, publicity. One account says that it is a proposal of love. And in the millennial book, it says the Six of Swords is symbolic of a journey or escape into mental clarity. It suggests a better positive future or possibly a period of calm straight ahead of you. Moving forward could require you to use your logic or natural intellect, but the end result is of a positive nature. The answer is yes. So I always feel like this is like a protected journey, right? Her spirit guides are on the boat with her. Kind of is how I kind of look at that. But it's protected journey. She's got lots of stuff to, or lots of swords to protect her in the new place that she's going or to defend herself from the place that she is leaving. Or you can look at it like there's a whole bunch of holes in the boat and who would stick swords in the bottom of it. I don't know. But the Six of Swords to me is usually safe passage and travel, right? Travel, safe passage kind of thing. And the answer for it is yes, if you're doing yes and no questions. All right, moving on to the Five of the Five of Swords. In the Kaplan version, a disdainful man looks after two retreating and dejected figures. Their two swords lie upon the ground. He carries two others on his left shoulder, and the third sword in his right hand point to earth. He is the master and possession of the field. Divinatory meaning: degradation, destruction, reversal, infamy, dishonor, loss. Reversed, the same: burial and obsequies. Yeah, I need a dictionary to read the Kaplan version of this. Okay, so then we go to the Five of Swords. Suggests conflict, discord, and trouble to come. There could be a loss, defeat, or painful separation in the near future, accompanied by feelings of brokenness and low self-esteem. Nothing associated with this card is of a positive nature, and thus your answer is no. So when I look at this card, I look like this guy in the back is crying. So like he's been defeated. This guy's just walking away. This guy is walking away with all these swords. So I'm like, the war is over. This guy's just being opportunistic and sweeping up as many swords as he can. They're refusing, to fight. They're simply just walking away. This guy is crying. So, I mean, which perspective are you on? Are you the defeated? Are you walking away? Or are you the opportunistic person who is, taking home with him the resources? Now that the war is over, he's just going to get some of his. So the other way I kind of take this as no competition, right? There's no competition here. Whereas if you look in the Five of Wands, they're actively fighting with wands. And it is competitive. It's kind of like sporting. And here there's no sport. There's no sport. So take that however it resonates for you. Hopefully you'll have a nice little one-word definition for your Five of Wands that you can take into your readings. All right, so moving to the Four. Now, this looks like a scary card. Now, if it's paired with the Eight of Swords and the Nine of Swords and the Ten of Swords, this is a scary freaking card. Like, those are the scariest cards in the deck. Not the Death card, not the Devil, not the Tower. Like, this one paired with the Mother Swords. But otherwise, this just means rest, right? He looks like he's been laid to rest. But for the rest of us, I think it just means like rest. So the Four of Swords in the Kaplan version, the effigy of a knight in the attitude of prayer at full length upon his tomb. Divinatory meaning: vigilance, retreat, solitude, hermit's repose, exile, tomb, and coffin. Reversed: wise, administration, circumspection, economy, avarice, precaution, and testament. And I don't know what avarice means either. I'm pretty sure I said it correctly, though. I have a knack for that. But yeah, if you want to put the definition in the comments, I'm happy to hear. I'm glad to learn something new. The Four of Swords, I mean, since I'll probably be listening to this in my car, I probably won't put the definition in the comments, but you know. All right, so the Four of Swords to the millennial, it says points towards some sort of sickness or withdrawal. However, it also brings with it rest, healing, and order. Other interpretations could be simply taking a needed break or calling a truce. The position of this card is fairly mild, but overall positive. The answer is most likely yes. All right, moving on to the Three of Swords in the Kaplan version. The Three of Swords, piercing a heart, cloud, and rain behind. Divinatory meanings: removal, absence, delay, division, rupture, dispersion, and all the design signifies naturally. Mental alienation, reverse is mental alienation, error, loss, distraction, disorder, and confusion. Now, I've never heard this anywhere, but this is just kind of how this card resonates for me. Yes, of course, it's grief, it's loss, it's sorrow, it's broken heart, right? Of course it's that. However, I kind of think about the heart is a very passionate thing, and these are swords to me are thoughts, right? So you can have three people having an impassioned conversation about politics, and you have this kind of meeting in the minds of passion. Take that for what it is. Do you know what I'm saying? But like, I almost feel like this is like wounded communication, an argument, family argument kind of deal. Everybody has their own side. Or, you know, you're all passionate about something and you're all thinking towards the same thing, because at the end here, you guys, the swords are crossing. So they come to a meeting of the minds. Anyway, it's grief, it's sorrow. That's how everybody reads it. And it's definitely a good way to go. But sometimes when I'm looking at it for like a business reading or something like that, sure, it's disappointment, but it could be a meeting of the minds that we've all decided to walk away from something. I don't know. Just throwing it out there. You let me know if it resonates for you. In the millennial version of this card, it says the Three of Swords shows the presence of pain and suffering, either through an emotional loss, the end of an important relationship, or heartbreak through separation. The emotional disturbances and mental anguish that come along with this card portray an answer of no to your question. All right. And then we go to the Two of Swords. The Kaplan version says, a hoodwinked figure balances two swords upon her shoulders. Divinatory meaning: conformity and the equipoise which it suggests. Courage, friendship, affection, concord, a state of arms, intimacy. Reversed: imposture, falsehood, duplicity, disloyalty. And in the millennial version, the Two of Swords symbolizes conflict resolution and decisions that must be made. However, the conclusions are likely through seeking inner peace and coming to a compromise. While this card suggests a general peace of mind, it leans neither toward yes or no. Thus, maybe is the answer. So this is a maybe card. It's two different decisions that you have to make. I almost feel like the moon is your shadow. There's a rock here. You got to make a decision, and you're kind of between a rock and a hard place.
I don't know. Kind of, that's what it means to me. Take that for what you will. All right, so the Ace of Swords, the Kaplan version of the book. A hand issues from a cloud, grasping a sword, the point of which is encircled by a crown. Divinatory meaning, triumph, the excessive degree in everything, conquest, triumph of force, a card of great force in love as well as in hatred. Reversed, the same meanings, but the results are disastrous. Another account says conception, childbirth, augmentation, and multiplicity. And in the millennial version, the Ace of Swords represents victory through having mental strength and achievement. Justice, clarity, and creative thinking are all associated with this card. A brilliant idea could be just around the corner, or perhaps it is some sort of divine inspiration toward creativity. The answer is likely yes. So I always think of this as new thoughts, new ideas, because aces are new. Swords are thoughts, ideas. Yeah, that's how I feel about that about that one. Oh, and clarity, getting to the truth of the matter, right? Cutting to the core, getting to the truth. So that's the other meaning I attribute to that. That and the Queen of Wands, I kind of think of her as cutting to the core and getting to the truth of the matter, where like clarity, right? It's just clarity, cutting to the core. Anyways, moving on. The King of Pentacles is next, and the figure calls for no special description. The face is rather dark, suggesting also courage, but somewhat lethargic in tendency. The bull's head should be noted as a recurrent symbol on his throne. The sign of this suit is represented throughout as engraved or blazoned with the pentagram, typifying the correspondence of the four elements in the human nature, and that by which they may be governed. Divinatory meaning, valor, realizing intelligence, business and normal intellectual aptitude, sometimes mathematical gifts and attainments of this kind, success in these paths, reversed as vice, weakness, ugliness, perversity, corruption, and peril. And in the millennial version, the King of Pentacles is not where he's supposed to be. Oh, there he is. Okay, so in the millennial book, the King of Pentacles is a reliable, confident, self-sufficient individual. He shows signs of success, wealth, and endless personal growth. Attaining your goals will likely require some self-exploration as well as a firm commitment on your part, but the outcome looks positive. Your answer is yes. I always look at the King of Pentacles as wealthy, right? He's no longer starting a business like the King of Wands or caught up in that. He's no longer managing the business and dealing with employees like the King of Cups. He's not having to exact judgments like the King of Swords. The King of Pentacles lives wealthy, and he has a King of Wands and King of Cups and a King of Swords to kind of manage all that stuff, right? But he's still involved and can make decisions if he feels like it. That's kind of how I feel about the King of Pentacles. We did the King of Pentacles. Now let's do the Queen of Pentacles. She's also super abundant and wealthy. And she reminds me of, well, she is kind of very much like the Empress. She embodies a lot of the Empress. But the Empress is the Queen of Queens too. So the Queen of Pentacles, the face suggests that of a dark woman whose qualities might be summed up in the idea of greatness of soul. She is also the serious cast of intelligence. She contemplates her symbol and may see worlds therein.
The divinatory meanings: opulence, generosity, security, magnificence, liberty. Reversed: evil, fear, suspicion, suspense, and mistrust. And in the millennial version, the Queen of Pentacles is practical, organized, and reliable multitasker. She brings with her abundance and wealth, but also requires an ability to love yourself and be unafraid of the change or journey that could lie ahead in order to achieve your goals. This card definitely points to yes. The Knight of Pentacles in the Kaplan version of the book, he rides a slow, enduring, heavy horse to which his own aspect corresponds. Divinatory meaning: utility, serviceableness, interest, rectitude, responsibility. Reversed: inertia, idleness, repose of that kind, stagnation, also discouragement, carelessness. In the millennial version, in the millennial version, the Knight of Pentacles is dependable, honorable, and trustworthy. He has undeniable common sense, incredible determination, and various skills that include exercising patience and being supportive of others. The presence of this card suggests positive things to come to those who remain faithful. The answer you are looking for is yes. All right, the Page of Pentacles for the Kaplan version of the book is a youthful figure looking intently at the pentacle that hovers over his raised hands. Divinatory meanings: application, study, scholarship, reflection. Another reading says news, messages, and the bringer thereof. Also rule, management. Reversed is prodigy. Prodigality. I don't know how to. Why that word? Who uses that word? Who barely knows what it means? But I think it means like a prodigy child, somebody who's studious, who does all their homework and follows all the rules, and kind of teacher's pet kind of person. But it's in the reverse, so I don't know. Prodigality. Somebody knows what that means. Let me know in the comments. Dissipation, liberality. It's like liberal with itty. Liberality. Liberality. I don't know. Luxury, unfavorable news. Okay, so let's let the millennial one break it down. It represents a skillful, attentive, and studious youth who is both self-disciplined as well as a go-getter. He could indicate some sort of promotion or acquiring a new, enjoyable hobby in the near future. The overall mood of this card is positive and suggests that the answer is yes. So, Page is message, Pentacle is money, message about money. That's the easiest way to interpret that card to start with. So, a message about a new job, communication about a new job, something that's bringing you some new money, or new money. Just new money. It's just new money. Or messages of money. I'm sorry, not new money. That's Ace of Pentacles. But messages of money. Good messages of money in the upright. All right, so the Ten of Pentacles in the Kaplan version is a man and a woman beneath an archway which gives entrance to a house and domain. Divinatory meanings: gain, riches, family matters, archives, extraction, the abode of a family. Reversed: chance, fatality, loss, robbery, games of hazard, sometimes gift, dowry, or pension. In the millennial version, the Ten of Pentacles shows the presence of stability, prosperity, and overall good fortune. This could all be due to having positive, close relationships or a tight-knit family as a foundation. An inheritance or discovery of treasure could await you, and your answer is yes. Okay, 78 cards, all these definitions over a course of a couple days. I got 9 left. I'm like yawning all over the place. I pause for the yawns sometimes if I can catch them. Okay, so the Nine of Pentacles in the
the Kaplan version of this deck. A woman with a bird upon her wrist stands amidst a great abundance of grapevines in the garden of a great house. Divinatory meanings: prudence, safety, success, accomplishment, certitude, discernment. Reversed: roguery, deception, voided project, bad faith. And the Nine of Pentacles stands for, in the millennial version, stands for wealth and financial security. It could mean finally being rewarded for all of our efforts in business or important projects in your life. The presence of this card could mean financial and or personal independence for you. The answer you seek is more than likely yes. And I definitely look at this as a very much an independence, like bossed up in your own skin, like happy, happy in your own skin, confident, and having everything that you need and it growing so that you can get to the Ten of Pentacles and then become a king or a queen. Okay, in any case, let's move on to the Eight of Pentacles. Mr. Hard Work and Master My Skills. Eight of Pentacles in the Kaplan version: an artist in stone at work. Divinatory meaning: work, employment, commission, craftsmanship, skill in craft and business. Reversed is voided ambition, vanity, cupidity, exaction, usury. In the millennial version, the Eight of Pentacles is this is a card suggesting an improvement of skills and studiousness. It shows a desirable career and acquiring new skills just ahead, as long as you use discretion and take a balanced approach. The outlook from this card is positive. Yes is your answer. All right, and then the Seven of Pentacles. This is like planting your seeds for the future. This is your retirement right here. A young man leaning on his staff looks intently at Seven Pentacles attached to a clump of greenery on his right. One would say that these were his treasures and that his heart was there. Divinatory meanings: these are exceedingly contradictory in the main. It is a card of money, business, barter, but one reading gives altercation, quarrel, and another innocence, ingenuity, and purgation. Reversed: anxiety about money. Oops, sorry. I forgot the millennial version. Millennial version, come on out. Come back out. There we go. Millennial version for the Seven of Pentacles represents perseverance in your occupation or business. It's associated with success through slow, steady growth. It suggests that you will have to wait a long time for your reward and that perhaps you are not working at your full potential. There's no clear answer here. Yep, you can plant your seeds, but you don't know if they're going to grow. Those are the risks we all take, right? All right, let's see. Now we can go on to the Six of Pentacles. Six of Pentacles, giving and receiving, generosity, right? Okay, Six of Pentacles. One, in the guise of a merchant, weighs money in a pair of scales and distributes it to the needy and distressed. Divinatory meanings: presents, gifts, gratification. Another account says attention, vigilance. Now is the accepted time. Present, prosperity, etc. Reversed is desire, cupidity, envy, jealousy, and illusion. And in the millennial version, the Six of Pentacles means success, prosperity, and generosity. It suggests financially helping others, giving donations, and selfless charity. There is a positive favor and an overall sense of good fortune and happy payoffs in the future. The answer you seek is most likely yes. Okay, Five of Pentacles. This is pretty much worry and walking away from help. Out in the cold, so to speak. Okay, so Five of Pentacles in the Kaplan version. Two mendicants in a snowstorm pass a lighted casement. Divinatory meaning: it foretells material trouble above all, whether in the form of illustrated, that is, destitution, or otherwise. For some cartomancists, it's a card of love and lovers, wife, husband, friend, mistress, also concordance affinities. These alternatives cannot
be harmonized. Reversed is disorder, chaos, ruin, discord, and profligacy. I'm going to guess that this is a no card. The Five of Pentacles indicates the coming of financial or emotional troubles or a period of bad luck, worry, poverty, and setbacks are all associated with this card. These things could be due to a lack of belief or possibly losing your faith. The overall tone of this card is negative. The answer you are after is no. Okay. Four of Pentacles. Oh my goodness, I can't believe we read them all. The Four of Pentacles in the Kaplan version. A crowned figure having a pentacle over his crown clasps another with hands and arms. Two pentacles are under his feet. Divinatory meanings. The surety of possessions, cleaving to that which one has, gifts, legacy, inheritance. Reversed is suspense, delay, and opposition. In the millennial version of this, the Four of Pentacles stands for security, stability, and the presence of elemental balance in your life. It suggests being smart and frugal with what you have and remaining on a strict budget with the security of only positive outcomes. Moving forward will likely require tenacity. Your answer is yes. And I look at this guy as saving up his money, right? To create stability, to go after another dream, a new adventure, what have you. But he's like saving his money. He's saving his ducats for something. That's how I look at that card. Some people look at this as a miserly card where he is unwilling to be generous. He has plenty. He's got money on the mind. He's got money in his hand. He's got a little money under his feet. But he's not giving any of it away. So some people call him a miser. Okay, so moving on to the Three of Pentacles. And I'm going to read the entire Kaplan book. There's only an extra couple pages. I'm pretty sure it's just the Celtic cross, but we're going to read it. So we get to the Three of Pentacles. To me, this is teamwork. That's my one-word definition for this card. But it says Three of Pentacles, a sculptor at his work in a monastery. Divinatory meaning. Something in another language. Métier. Trade, skilled labor, usually, however, regarded as a card of nobility, aristocracy, renowned, glory. Reversed is mediocrity in work, and otherwise, puerility, pettiness, and weakness. In the millennial version of this, the Three of Pentacles is a card representing excellence and success. These things could be acquired through productive teamwork or being industrious. It relates directly to being a master of your trade and great care and great career accomplishments. The answer to your question is yes. Okay, so we'll move on to the Two of Pentacles. The Two of Pentacles, a young man is in the act of dancing, has a pentacle in either hand, and they are joined by that endless cord, which is like the number 8 reversed. Divinatory meaning, it is represented as a card of gaiety, recreation, and its connections, which is the subject of the design, but it is read also as news and messages in writing, such as obstacles, agitation, trouble, embroilment, reversed, enforced gaiety, simulated enjoyment, literal sense, handwriting, composition, letters of exchange. I don't know. To me, he's like a juggler, right? And pentacles are money. Is he juggling money? He's got a tiny ship over here and a big ship over here. So is the little ship costing him more money than the big ship over here? Are you weighing options? Do you see what I'm saying? That's how I look at that card. I've read in other places that it's like, multiple priorities, time management, adapting to having multiple priorities, or, just everything to me in that picture just says balancing act. So twos are all about, achieving balance anyway. All right, so for the Two of Pentacles in the New Millennium deck, it means shows movement, balance, and growth through change. It suggests possibilities of fluctuating wealth that will likely require some sort of juggling act and will bring with it both ups and downs. The workload will be heavy, and there's no clear answer provided by the presence of this card. All right, last card, folks. Yay! This is a super long video. Okay, the Ace of Pentacles. And in the Kaplan version, the Ace of Pentacles is a hand issuing, as usual, from a cloud, holds up a pentacle. Divinatory meanings: perfect contentment, felicity, ecstasy, also speedy intelligence, gold, reverse, the evil side of wealth, bad intelligence, also great riches. And I have also seen the Ace of Pentacles with the same, using the same meanings as the World card. So completion, to start a new task, right? So if you have completing something old, you've got new money coming in, something new physically manifesting into your life. But to me, this is not even to me, in other books and other schools of thought, or other diviners will actually interchange this same card with the World card. And there's a lot of crossovers like that throughout the tarot as well. Okay. Wait, I read the... Yes. Okay, so now we're going to do the millennial version of the Ace of Pentacles, which represents prosperity, financial gain, and success, and successful endeavors ending in promotion. It brings with it good luck as well as emotional stability. This card is highly suggestive of a positive future and being able to attain your goals. The answer herein is yes. Okie dokie. So now we're just going to read the rest of this deck. I'm going to zoom out slightly. There we go. And just kind of, I'm going to lay out some cards just so you kind of like see. And they're not going to be shuffled. They're just getting laid out in the same way that we put them. So in this deck, or in this book here, you have this little gray card, right? To represent the significator. And sure, you can pull out like the Queen of Wands or the Queen of Cups, right? And then you can like start shuffling and pulling out cards. So that this is what covers that person. But I personally don't do that. This first card is just supposed to represent the questioner. This card is supposed to cover that person. So it gives you an idea of their archetype, their character attributes, what they're feeling in the moment. And then this is kind of like further description of who they are and what they're going through. So like if I was going to read that this Queen of Cups is thinking about like, new money. She's manifesting new money. And then like obstacles, she can be reckless with money if she's the Fool. 2 is obstacles. But I'm just going to kind of like lay this out. Everybody does this kind of like a little bit differently. So I always do, so this is 1, 2, and then 3 for me, but in this book it's 3 is up here, but 3, and then for me is then 4, then 5, then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So for whatever reason, some people do it 3, 4, 5, 6. Oopsies. Can you even see my hand? 3, 4, 5. Wait. 3, 4, 5, 6 is how they do it in this deck. That's just not how I do it. This is hard for me. I don't like change. All right, so we're just going to read the 2 pages here of The Art of Tarot Divination. And it's going to describe the each position of these cards. So I'm going to lay them out as we're describing them. So the cups are assumed to represent people with light brown hair and a fair complexion. Wands represents those having yellow or red hair and blue eyes. Swords corresponds to persons with dark brown hair and possibly gray, hazel, or even blue eyes. Pentacles answer to very dark people. The procedure is as follows. And I've also learned that Pentacles is not only very dark people, but also white-haired people, right? Old people. Wealthy people are old. At least the ones who had to strive to get there. So I've always thought of them, Pentacles, as white-haired people as well. So it says select a significator or person or thing about whom or which the inquiry is made. It is the card which in the reader's judgment or experience is the most representative. So in this deck, they're recommending, or for this book, they're recommending that you go through and you pick out the significator. I never do that. Not ever. I did at one point in time, but I just felt like it was just confusing. So it says, select the significator of the person or thing about whom or which the inquiry is made. It is the card which, in the reader's judgment or experience, is the most representative and is not, therefore, of necessity. The magician or high priestess mentioned in official divinatory meanings. Place the significator in the middle. Let the reader and the querent shuffle and cut the remainder of the deck 3 times. So honestly, if I was going to do something like that, I wouldn't these days use those decks. I would use this deck, which is kind of like a Jungian based kind of archetype of characteristics of a person. And I would shuffle this deck. If I needed a querent card, I would shuffle this deck. Otherwise, and I would use this deck. But otherwise, I would just shuffle the cards, and whatever falls out is what that person's going through, right? Shuffle the cards and be like, you know, whoops, out pops the Ace of Wands. You are looking at a new business. That's what's on your mind these days, right? That's what I would totally be looking at. Okay, so now let's go to, I'm going to hate myself for doing that because I never shuffle this deck because I always use it for cards. I should use it more though. I love this deck. Okay, so we turn the first card up to cover the significator. So, you know, somewhere there's, let's say the significator is the High Priestess. We're going to cover the High Priestess. And it says this covers the significator. So this person is an intuitive person who has mysteries and secrets, who's got a new business idea, right? So turn up the first card, cover the significator therewith, and say that covers him. This is the person or thing's general environment at the time, the influence which he is actuated all through. Turning up the second card, put it across him horizontally and say this represents his obstacles. If it is a favorable card, it will be something good in itself, but not productive of good in the particular connection. So I always think of this as both, I always read both the positive and the negative meanings, the upright and the reverse meanings of these particular cards, because if it's crossing your path, it's kind of like an obstacle. It could go either way. You're probably depending on other people or your own limitations, right? In overcoming this kind of obstacle in your way or what's crossing your path. What's coming up? What's the first log in the way? Okay. So this, it says obstacles, you know, this represents your obstacles. I never ever, think of this as I don't think of anything in the negative like that in terms of obstacles. I really think of it as something that's crossing your path, something that you're going to run into, something you're going to have to deal with, you know, like sometimes there's ducks crossing the street and everybody has to stop for the baby ducks to cross the street. Like, you know, it's crossing your path. It's cute baby ducks, but they're slowing down traffic. What can I say? All right, so turn up the third card, place it above the head of the significator, and say this crowns him. Now, I do it. I put that there too, but my order is different, and Spirit answers based on the order that I am accustomed to and that I put them in. So if this works for you, where you put the, you know, this is what covers you, this is what crosses you, this is what's on your mind, or this crowns him. It represents A, the best that he can arrive at, or B, his ideal in the matter, C, what he wants to make his own, D, but it is not his own at present. So let's say this person wants a new business, but he loves the person that he's in business with and not sure whether or not the person wants them. But what's on his mind is some sort of commitment from this person, right? Is kind of how I read the cards that we just pulled out here. All right, so this crowns him. What you want to make your own, but is not your own at present, and your ideal in the matter. So to me, it's like your ideal is you want a commitment for this particular card. You turn up the fourth card and place it below the feet of the significator and say, this is beneath him. It is his own, that which he has to work with and can use. I have always interpreted the base card here as in your basis. What is in your basis? What is it from your entire life? You know, the culmination of all of your learning and jadedness are you bringing into your situation? So I always go to the past first instead of what's on their mind. I go to the past, what they're passing through, and then what's on their mind. Here, it's what's on your mind, then what is beneath you, what won't you do, I guess, and then fourth card. So this one you say, this is beneath him, it is his own, that which he has to work with and can use. The fifth card, place it on the side that the significator is looking away from. Okay, so she's looking straight ahead. We're screwed. I always think of this position as the future. So we're going to go ahead and say that the significator is looking in this direction. This is behind him, right? I also look at this as what they're passing through. It's also behind them in terms of the future, right? So this is behind him. It is the current from which he is passing away, and it may be the past of the matter. Turn up the sixth card and place it on the side that the significator is facing. Oh, so this is the significator facing away. This is the significator facing, which is essentially this high priestess underneath there, which should be like a queen or a king or something. In any case, this is before him. It is the current that is coming into action and will operate in the specific matter. And then, so now you have the first six cards plus the significator card are now disposed in the form of a cross. The next four cards are turned up in succession and placed to your right, one card above another. The seventh signifies himself, his attitude in relation to the matter. So if you're doing your own reading, this is the advice you're giving yourself. So you're signifying himself, his attitude, and his relation to the matter. The eighth card signifies his house, his environment, and the affair, the influence, people, and events about him. So this is your environment. To me, this is just what's in your environment. How is the environment and people around you seeing you in this particular situation with this new business? And maybe you are lovers or former lovers, and you want a commitment. You got the Emperor and the Empress. That's because all these cards were in order. Like, this is a really strong reading. Okay. Okay, so we've got the... so like somebody in this position, somebody might be saying for the Chariot, they might be saying, I'm giving myself the advice to just keep going, right? Keep moving forward. And the environment around you is like, well, take it easy. Don't go so fast. Maybe keep it in balance. You don't want to burn your candle at both ends when it comes to starting a new business, right? And then the, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so the ninth card signifies your hopes and your fears. And I always read both the upright and the reverse for this particular position because it's your hopes and your fears. So the death card is like, okay, you're going to have to change. And then maybe you also aren't going to change. So, you're afraid of the change, but you're also afraid that nothing will change. That's a real fear. That happens all the time. So that's how I interpret the ninth card, which signifies your hopes and fears. And then the 10th card is your outcome card. And look at that. It's the Hangman. You just need a shift of perspective, right? So represents what will come. It is on this card that you concentrate your intuitive powers, your experience, and your memory in respect to the official divinatory meaning attached thereto. It should include whatsoever you may have divined from other cards on the table, including the significator itself and concerning him or it, not accepting such lights upon higher significance as might fall like sparks from heaven if the card which serves for the oracle. The card for reading should happen to be a trump major. Thus, basing your calculations, if you obtain a decisive judgment, the reading is over and you have only to formulate the result. In conclusion, as regards to the question of complexions, their allocation to the suits need not be taken conventionally. You can go by temperament of a person who is exceedingly dark, may be very energetic, and would be better represented by a sword card than a pentacle. On the other hand, a very fair person who is indolent and lethargic should be allocated to cups rather than wands. Great facility may be obtained by this method in a comparatively short time, allowance being always made for the gifts of the reader. So once all the cards are kind of, that's their stuff. I'm going to just kind of go over my own stuff and what I do. So once all the cards are kind of laid out, you can read these in different ways, right? So I'm just going to ignore this High Priestess that's underneath this Ace of Wands because I just don't do my readings that way. This takes the place, like this Ace of Wands, this first position. This is you. What covers? I just do that. What is you? What are you? And then I immediately go to obstacles. And then I go to what's in your basis, like what's coming from your childhood, what's coming from your past relationships, what's kind of your shadow side, or whatever it is from your past successes too, that are kind of like influencing the present. Or the lesson that you're kind of passing through, right? And then what are you thinking about? And based on all of these things, what is coming into fruition into the near future? What advice are you telling yourself down here in the 7th position, in the 8th position? What your environment and the people around you are telling you to do, what your hopes and fears are, and then what the outcome is. Now, what's interesting is that you now that all the cards are laid out, you can read what's in your basis that's affecting your future and the outcome, right? So you can do these three together. Then you can also do the Empress, right? Past, present, future, right? So you've got this, perhaps a female entity who you once fell in love with, who's kind of getting in your way. Maybe you're getting a divorce, right? And you don't know which way the divorce is going to go, but you're going to have the strength to kind of get through it here in the near future, because we do have this new business coming into play. And you're telling yourself down here in your own advice, keep moving forward, right? Or maybe your wife is getting in the way of this new business idea. You know, you want to sell, I don't know, individual stamps from 10 years ago as collector's items, and you're going to invest all kinds of money, and your wife is like, no, no, no. And you're like, but I love her, so I might have to listen to her. Am I strong enough to overcome her opinions? Maybe I can shift her perspective. Maybe she can shift my perspective. But being that there's a male down here, I would say he has to shift his perspective, right? He's got to have this. He has the strength to shift his perspective. So and then you can also go like this. I come from this place. It is an obstacle in my way and impeding my thinking here, right? Or my thinking is blocked by this thing from my past. So those are all different ways that you can kind of read the cards. Once they're all laid out, you can read them however you want. But those are just some of the ways that I look for clues in telling the story. And you can read the story forwards, backwards, upwards, sideways, diagonally. You can do all of those. Because here you've got like the advice that you're giving yourself is have faith, because it says commitment, the Hierophant, have faith. To me, that's faith, right? It's faith in the church. It's church. Commitment to church, commitment or faith. Strong faith. You have strong faith. Your faith is strong enough to get you through and keep moving, right? Which is what you're telling yourself to do, using this Chariot card down here. So anyways, that is the Rider Waite deck using the original horrible book by Kaplan from the I think this is 40s. But this is the Arthur Edward Waite deck. And I'm going to do an Aleister Crowley Thoth deck, his buddy back from the same time in their days with the Hermetic Tarot, which also has slightly different meanings as well. Same exact cards, different depictions, but the other two versions is, so this is the Secret Order of the Golden Dawn, and then there's also the Rosicrucians, which is also similar to this. You can see there's a rose inside of this cross. So there's a lot of, I have a Rosicrucian deck, which is also kind of based on the Hermetic Tarot, but it's like where these went, where the Rider Waite, Arthur Waite went right, and Arthur Crowley went left. You know, the Rosicrucians went north, I guess. So they're all kind of intertwined and they all work together. They were all part of the same club back in the day, and they each came out with their own decks, and that started this, you know, it started this whole industry, actually, the divination of industry as we know it. But cards like this and their similar meanings have been around for hundreds, thousands of years. So play with it. As you get deeper in studying the cards, they'll just have more and more meanings for you. So I really hope you enjoyed this. I thank you very, very much for watching, and I hope you have a blessed day. Please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching.